Look at this iridescent rainbow treated seashell. Let's wrap it. 22 gauge smoky quartz. That sounds fun. How much should we take? Whoever, however, whenever, wherever. We're meant to be together. I'll be here with the wire still. Okay. This has a weird little hole drilled right through the top there. So if you have a top drilled stone of any type, you can use this pattern if you like. So I'm going to put it through there, and well, woo, it's going through. Notice that the shell makes noise when you put the wire there. It goes, it's really neat. So, whoops, it's in the middle of the wire now. Oh, yeah. Thank you, camera, for focusing. And you can give it a little, what's it called? A little twist there. We'll pinch it together, and then we'll twist it. And we'll just keep twisting it like we lost our mind. Like we just don't know what we're doing. Just twisting. Twisting the night away. Let's twist again like we did last summer. Like we did last year. Ooh. Thank you, camera. That's how we focus. Yay. No. Just want to give you a compliment and you mess it up again. Anyway. Twisting. And see, it started out good and then it kind of got into that weird spiral. You want to keep this and this at like a square, like a right angle, and that, and kind of keep your fingers pressed right on the precipice of it, and then you should get a nice good spiral. See how it's starting to turn nice again? But anyway, oh, that's enough. That's about more than an inch. So now we'll turn it on a right angle and then roll the whole thing into a nice loop. You can do it with little bends, or you can just put a pencil in there, but I'm too lazy to get up and find a pencil, so laziness is it's a hardship. When someone is lazy, you should really feel bad for them because life is harder for them. So what you should do is, to make their lazy life easier, you should enable them by doing stuff for them so they don't feel so bad that they don't like doing things for themselves. And that way, they'll come to see you as somebody who they expect to do things for them. And then instead of being grateful, they'll just come to demand it. And then you can feel good about your choices. All right, so I'm bringing these strands together. I love to do this double strand. Now this would look really good with silver, but this dark wire, it's different. It's something different. Something a little different. See, I'm keeping the strands close together, but not completely close. They're not touching. They're a little bit separated, and that's cool. Like, what is happening? Are they ever going to come together? They're traveling in the same lanes of life, but yet they're not together yet. Are they ever going to meet, become a couple? I don't know. And then I just like to squiggle it. Just squiggle it just a squiggle bit. You gotta squiggle it just a squiggle bit as it grooves. Look at that. Almost the whole face of it is wrapped, just squiggling it back and forth. One loop and a bunch of squiggles. And now we can separate it out some more. Let's fold it over here. Hold it in place carefully as we fold it so it doesn't lose its shape. And what happens up here? All right, it's all floppy. It's floppy. All right, know exactly where you folded it over. And now we're gonna cross them and twist a couple times because that'll lock it better in place for what comes next. Now, we can either make them come apart separately, or we can put them back together and do more of a double strand, whatever we want to do. It's up to us. But let's make sure the front first is where we want it. Okay, it moved over. We wanted it more in the middle, and it moved without asking us, so move it back. Don't cry, just move it back. You can cry a little, but whatever you do, don't cry for me, Argentina. All right. So I'm going to take this one and bring it across here. Nah, I'm not, because that looks ugly. Let's back that up. What am I going to do? I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to bring this one up here and anchor it around the top loop. right? So now I'm coming from up here. And this one is still coming from, I don't like how these guys are like all floppy still. Well, we'll have to fix that later. This one, I'm gonna pull it this way. Yeah, that's gonna, already that's helping to pull these guys in place. Okay, and now I'm gonna come up this one, I'm gonna come down, and let's make a swirl right here. Yeah, I like that. So once we lock them around each other, then they'll start swirling. We just gotta wrap one and then the other and then the other. See that? Of course you don't. The camera hates you. I would say the camera hates me, but I don't like being negative, so I'll just say the camera hates you. It's your fault. Anyway, you can kind of see a swirl starting. So just keep going with that. It's a cool swirl now. I like it. Do you like it? I like it. Move that. Ooh, now it's getting good. A swirl on top of a seashell is a beautiful thing. Look at that. It's kind of like, I've never done this pattern before. I'm just always trying something new. Don't be afraid. And when you start to try something new, if it's not working, don't be afraid to back up like you saw me do. But sometimes just go for it, you know? And if you go for it, then don't regret it and say, I should have backed up. And if you back up, don't regret it and say, I should have went for it. Just do it again. Do it again and again and again, and you'll have multiple chances to try different things. So now these are folded over here. And we're going to cross them again. Twist, twist. But then we want to lock them in. So this is perfect because it's creating a little bit of a netting. When you have wire pulling from all different sides, it locks the piece and it creates like a netting where if you pull hard on the piece instead of the wire slipping out and the stone slipping out, it actually grips it tighter. That's the purpose of a net. So a net is to catch things, and we call it a seashell. So I'm going to slide that under there all smooth like. Let's thread it through. Be careful we don't give it a kink. You got to thread it through smoothly. So what does that mean? It means as it's coming around, you got to make sure you don't end up with a tiny little loop that tightens on itself and turns into a kink, because then you'll break the wire. So we're gently pressing it with my thumb as I'm pulling it with the pliers. Make sure it threads all the way through. And let's check our front. Did we move anything out of place? Yeah, a little bit. We did. So there's this big gap here. So let's push it back. We want our spiral over here. See, we want that cool little, it's almost like a conch shell, like a little, what's it called? Like a little Fibonacci swirl we made right down there. And we want this to come across the diagonal of most of it. Okay. So we're locked in here. Perfect. Because now we can come up. We can put one more little, we have a little bit of space to just fill it in right there. Just the tiniest bit. And we'll just bend it up like that. And you know, just finish it off. Oops. I always try to aim to come back to the top loop. Now this top loop, I'm going to twist it one more time to try to, there we go. It needed to be centered more. Sometimes you can feel that if you just twist it once, you'll end up centering it better. And now we're going to scarf the top, meaning this is a face. And we're going to wrap this double strand across the face. And we're going to wrap it several times like it's a really good scarf. We're going to stack the wraps carefully, gently, right on top of each other. Look at that. Nice. And everything is strong, everything is held in place. Now we're just gonna cut this right here halfway across so we have little tabs to tuck in. See those little tabs? Those two little tabs? We're gonna bend them towards the bowl so they're hovering over this little bowl that's made by the scarf. And then we're gonna pinch them a little bit further towards the bowl and then turn our pliers and pinch them down into the bowl, deep into the bowl, so the sharp ends never come out and everything's locked in place. Now we're just gonna feel anything moving. Everything's pretty tight. We're gonna come in the back here. Feel anything moving. Well, we could crimp this one a little bit, and we could crimp this one a little bit. Sometimes you can tighten them up, but be careful. If you crimp it too much, you can yank something in the front and move it where you don't want to. So you always go back and check. Is everything where you want it to be? I think so. This camera's like awful. There we go. Thank you, camera. So back looks good, front looks good. Let's see if the camera can pick it up like that. There we go. I think the camera's like thrown off by the iridescence. It's like it can't contain its beauty, so the camera's like all distracted. Like the camera's like in love with the shell, and the camera's like, "You're so beautiful, I can't look at you directly. I have to squint." And when the camera squints, it makes everything blurry for us. So we have to like tell the camera to, you know, be disciplined. Look at the shell. Stop being weird, camera. But don't be too rude to your camera, because, you know, you got to keep it in line. But, you know, if you're abusive to your camera, then it'll turn on you and take pictures of you when you're not expecting it and upload them. And then next thing you know, you'll be all over social media like, I didn't put those photos up. Who did that? And the camera will be like sitting there in the corner just laughing its little camera butt off. And you'll be like, you did this to me again. And then the camera will act all like innocent, like, me? I didn't do anything. I was just sitting here being a camera. I didn't even leave the stand. And then you say, well, how'd you get over there in the corner? Oh, I must have fallen. I must have fallen way over here. Cameras are so clever when they come up with their little excuses. So I'm going to put like 3 jump rings. We're going to call this piece Elegance of the Sea. Or maybe we'll call it, notice these antique brass. They're a little bit lighter than the smoky quartz. That's okay. Close enough. It's like a lighter version of the same wire. I don't have smoky quartz jump rings, so this is the closest I could come up with. I could do antique copper, but that would look definitely more red. This just looks lighter. And we'll put a nice cord on the baby. Put the clasp on the right side, because 90% of the world is right-handed, so we always stereotype against the left-handed people. So left-handed people end up putting it on backwards and wearing it like that. Or they'll just learn how to use their right hand for the clasp, because the world isn't made for lefties. Sorry, lefties. You're still beautiful. But sometimes you just got to buy a special guitar or string a regular guitar the opposite way, because the world just caters to that 90%. It's not fair. But let me tell you something. You probably have special superpowers for being a left-handed person, and that's why the world is not nice to you. So you just don't take it to heart. Just say, I'm amazing. I have superpowers. All right, you folks, righties and lefties together, unified as one. Have a wonderful night.